Hi everyone, Susan Kennedy here with a reading for you for the week of February the 20th, 2023. We're just off the back of this beautiful new moon in Pisces, and that energy is really helping us move forward with this period of self-reflection this week. The image I'm being shown is it's like your guide's with you and he's saying, get out of the car and look at what's given you a flat tire. So look at what it is that's keeping you flat. Look at what it is that has stopped the journey, because somewhere recently the journey feels like it's stopped. And that stopping is all for a very good reason. So how it is being shown to me as well is that we are all in a time where we need to separate ourselves from the story that we've created. And there's an end of a cycle of the last 12 years. So at the moment, there seem to be lots of concurrent cycles that we are ending. And obviously, the new moon is always about endings and beginnings, but this particular one is a big ending and beginning. So the ending at the moment is whatever was going on for you 12 years ago. So just check on your age and have a look at that and say, well, where was I 12 years ago? And what is it in your life now that there's been a story that was being played out from that time? You know, something was set in motion. And you need this week to take some time just to be off the road, so to speak, or in your own quiet place where you can eliminate distractions is what I'm being shown. Just eliminate distractions, making the time this week to actually look at the story that has been going on and playing out in your life for the last 12 years. And in that, what you're going to see is there's been lots of players in that period of your life, lots of participants who have either helped you consciously or unconsciously helped you by their, good behavior or bad behavior, because however it is, the soul contract is that we are being helped by the people that we are sharing life with. So there is a story that's surrounding the last 12 years of your life. There's a theme that's been going on. And what I'm seeing is it's almost like this fairy godmother energy where there is almost like with the absolute aha moment of those pages in the book. So if you were reading a book and it was the story of your last 12 years, if you were looking at that and you got to one chapter of that period where you go, that was really hard, that was really difficult, you get to that chapter and you kind of get this aha moment where just reading it or seeing it or understanding it will help you release a whole amount of energy that you've been carrying around it. Because we are in this week coming into a phase of a huge healing portal that is opening. So this healing portal is getting wider and wider and wider and wider. And that energy is allowing us to release, to let energy go, to transmute energy. It's also a lot about letting go of people that have actually passed in our lives. But letting go of the sadness, letting go of the sorrow, letting go of the disappointments, letting go of the hurts, so that as we allow that to happen, there is this huge influx of new people that will come physically into your life and also on the astral planes as well. So very much this week, time to just a great deal of recognition. Sorting out things, and it's kind of like putting things in piles is how I'm being shown. It's like you're going through your wardrobe, right? And you go, oh, well, I've got all these things and that's what I might use going forward, and I definitely won't use that. So in your story, you're going to look at what you definitely have let go of, because in that there's this huge sense of how far you've come, this huge sense of the growth that you've had. And seeing and feeling that growth this week will be like oh, wow, now I can free myself from this cycle. And for many of you, it's the cycles around the beliefs that you hold. And I know this has been a theme of late. It's interesting that doing a weekly reading, we're actually seeing these themes come through time and time again. And sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself. But, my beautiful guide, I've got this new guide, Stay. He's quite amazing. He's a galactic, but he's very, very strong. And he's kind of saying to me, you've got to take your hand off the steering wheel now. You've got to stop trying to control everything. but there has to be some time for reflection and time for understanding and time for healing. So we're going to go through this kind of a healing phase right up until about the 23rd of March. So this energy of the new moon, where if you look at it, the grandmother energy of the moon, you know, grandmother moon, she's wise. She comes in cycles. She comes to show us what we need to see, what we need to understand, what we need to feel. And when she's in the shadow energy, she kind of steps back and says, well, in your own shadow, what do you see? What do you feel? Is there a sense, and I talked about it last week, of withdrawal, or I think it was in the new moon video, I talked about how there is a withdrawal happening, and that's the moon energy withdrawal. But, you know, as the moon kind of moves away from our vision, maybe there are people in our lives that move away from our vision. We might feel more distant from people. And it's in that distance that we start to recognize the value that we are looking for and the value that we hold for ourselves. Last week, and always, you know, the preceding week brings us an energy to leapfrog into this current week. But last week, around the Valentine's Day time, there would have been a huge recognition within you of the esteem that you hold yourself in, and also the energy that other people hold you in. Mainly those loved ones. You know, are you being valued the way you want to be valued? Are you a priority in that person's life? Are you making them a priority? So there's all of these kind of issues that have been bubbling under the surface. And the beauty is that, you know, going forward with life now, we're able to see everything that's happened in the past that is, you know, now playing out and being able to be let go of. So very, very important that you don't just bumble through the week. You know, I always think these readings are a great way for you to have some kind of a framework to say, well, if I'm going to create a beautiful picture for myself this week, what do I need to be aware of? What are the things? What are the themes? So one of the themes this week is retelling the story, but actually kind of in a way recognizing that very quickly and very easily you're going to notice how you don't feel the same about events that have happened in your past. You know, that you know, that past energy that's always been there, it's like, oh, it's not here anymore. And so going forward, you know, you feel like, well, because I've got rid of that, or because it's not, I don't feel the same, I can actually put more vibrant energy into projects that you're working on. Projects, relationships, all those sorts of things. Now, as we look at a bigger picture, as we look at what is going on the planet this week, we do have a lot of cleaning up energy, a lot of sadness, and a lot of people going through this thing of having to ask for help and help not coming the way that they expect it to. I'm very much in my mind of the recent tragedies or happenings in New Zealand, earthquake, cyclone. We've got this, you know, earthquakes happening in other parts of Europe now. So earthquake activity, Syria, Turkey, where people are struggling and having to ask. And that kind of thing of we shouldn't have to ask. And yet in that asking, sometimes there is a bit of indignation of why isn't the help coming? Why is it not coming? Why weren't, you know, there's a lot of blame going on at the moment as well. So on a planetary level, you know, this thing of, well, why weren't people building buildings that were more sustainable? So we've got this energy almost of kind of, instead of dealing with the situation and saying, okay, we've got people in need here, what can we do? There's almost this energy of blame shifting, which is what we see a lot in the political arena. But this new energy, this new earth, this new consciousness, this awakened consciousness that we're all going into is not so much about who's to blame, but as what can we do right now? How can we bring light and healing in now? How can we bring food, water, all of the things that these people need? How can we do that? And then after that, look at a plan where we could all work together and bring many minds together. So this is a time, and interestingly enough, I was very drawn to the Hopi prophecies this week, where they talk about the third shaking up of the earth. and how in the Hopi prophecies for many, many years, they've talked about the things that mankind is doing, the cobweb that will come around the world, which is the internet, the cobweb where people will speak to each other, and understanding that what Mother Earth is doing is shaking us up, because all creeds, all nations are supposed to come together as one. The four corners of the earth, the four colors. So the color of the races, the black, the white, the red, the yellow. And at the moment, we've got all of this energy around China, all the things that are being said, all the energy that's going into, separation. So we have to see separation before we can change it. So again, this week, I would encourage you to look for any elements within you of radicalism or racism or separation, so that you can kind of see it and say, well, okay, maybe that is there. And maybe there is a feeling that you've been wronged, or that you feel these things because of your life experiences. And look, I know that many people have lived in places where there has been a reason why you would have a feeling about a certain race or a certain collective of people. But hey, guys, we're in this channel, we're in this energy. And at some point we have to look at that and say, well, how can we move through that? And what are the lessons of even why those people are the way they are? I'm of Indian descent, and I know that the Indians around the world have been very maligned because they're hardworking and because they're determined and because they do what they need to do to get what they want. So oftentimes we see a trait in a race that disturbs us, or that we don't like, or that we don't agree with. And so then we colour all of those people with the same brush. So this week I'm seeing that we will start to look at that within ourselves, because remembering that all of the growth that we're going through, this evolution, this movement towards the age of Aquarius, this time of huge harmony that is now seeping into our everyday life, we can only get there when we as individuals have done the work that we need to do. And I kind of want to stop calling it work, because it's not actually work. It's part of the unfoldment of this this beautiful Technicolor coat that you're wearing. I'm just seeing Joseph in his amazing Technicolor dream coat, and recognizing that we wear coats of many colors. Sometimes we have to be a certain way, sometimes we have to be certain people. But it's what's inside that coat. What is the true essence of who we are? And can we take that coat off and just be in our gold light energy? So I am going to use two lots of cards this week, because I was really drawn to. So interesting when I see them in my mind, and then when I read the title of them, I went, okay, that makes sense. First one is the Sacred Earth Oracle, and the second one, Sacred Destiny. Interesting, that energy of sanctity, the holding things sacred. So this week it is very much a feeling of you having your own little candle, your own little cup of something or glass of something, as you sit and you re-look at your story, you re-look at your life, and you re-look at it with eyes of kindness, eyes of love. And I do see in that there'll be a deeper understanding of the ancestral line that's come down through you. The people that your mum, your dad, your grandparents, you're going to have a greater understanding of the role that they played in your life. Sometimes we wish it was different. Sometimes we wish we had the ability to ask them those questions as to, well, what was life really like for you? Why were you the way you were? Why did you say this? Why didn't you say that? So all of those kind of questions, there's more of a sense of peace around that this week. And I do know that there are many, many of your loved ones gathering through this portal that is now opening more and more. So we don't just have the galactics here at the moment. We've got en masse all of our support network, our people in the spirit world who are, I guess it feels like they've been in school, they've been in training, and they're saying, okay, we're part of this great rescue mission. without seeing it as rescue. Because remember, you know, none of us are victims, we're all just volunteers, but we're all here to, yes, support each other. And this is this thing of cohesion that we're moving closer and closer towards. So let's see what Sacred Destiny card we get. Oh, I'm not going to do too much shuffling because I know it makes a bit of a noise on the thing. So, wow, absolutely healing chaos. So this, it's almost like tornado, and you can see again this earth energy. So we have the earth, Mother Earth, and all good mothers would give you a little bit of a pat on the bum sometimes if you haven't done things quite right. So Mother Earth, you know, for any of you that are mothers or fathers, and if you're not that, you know, you will understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the fierce mother energy, the fierce parental energy, the fierce friend energy that wants to protect, but also wants to give you sometimes a little bit of a shake-up to say, hey, are you listening? And when I look at this one, it also reminds me of the Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. You know, how at the beginning of the movie, I mean, it's an old movie, isn't it? But she gets in there and, you know, she goes up in this like tornado thing. But tornadoes pick things up, things that have been stuck, things that are fixed, things that are what we, you know, things we think can't be moved. And it brings it up and it scatters it. So that's the kind of healing chaos that you may be experiencing right now. One of the other things I'm seeing and being guided to talk about is the physical energy of healing that's going on at the moment. And that for many of you, you may find resolution at the moment to long-term issues that you've been having or ignoring, because there is this kind of a time to say, well, that the answers are there for you. So you're going to get resolution, you're going to get answers. So this week, if there is an underlying health issue that you've been ignoring, the guidance is don't ignore it, get it seen to, but don't be in the fear about it, and also take responsibility for the best way for that healing to happen. So definitely about things that have been fixed, that have been ongoing, that have been holding us into old energy, being lifted up. So then I'm going to use the Sacred Earth Oracle. I'm just going to alternate these cards this week to do something a little bit different. Wow, interesting card. So it says dependability, and I'm not sure how well you can see the image because I have my lights on as well. But if you look at the image, it looks like, well, it's a man and a woman. And I'm just not sure if there's a child in the middle. But, you know, if you look at Father Sky, Mother Earth, you know, you've got Grandmother Moon, you've got Grandfather Sun, you've got the familial energies of the elements that are there supporting us, but at the moment really rattling the earth. You know, I don't care what country you live in. There has not been one country that I can think of that hasn't experienced either floods or landslides or tornadoes or cyclones or earthquakes. You know, there's just been so much earth activity going on, more so than ever. But this is saying that we've got to find that mother-father energy within ourselves. So this is where this week, it ties really well in with the reading, that the people in the spirit world who are the ancestors, the grandparents, the great-grandparents, all of the things that have been set in process for you to live your life, that they're coming on board. They're coming into your sphere of awareness this week. And it's through photographs is what I'm seeing that you will really connect with them. So for you to potentially hold one of your people's photos and actually ask them to give you a message, ask them to fill your being with a sense of understanding about whatever it is that you are ready now to understand. And maybe whatever you are ready to receive, because maybe it's time to receive the blessing of their love. Maybe it's time just to receive the understanding of the hardships that they may have gone through, or the beautiful way that they brought you up, or the not so beautiful way that they were in your life, but having an understanding of it and a release of it and a freeing of it, a freeing of your heart. So, Sacred Destiny card coming up next from Denise Lynn. Card says flexibility, and this one always reminds me, and this is that healing portal I was talking about. Just trying to get it right in the camera. So it's a tiger, if you can see it, and all these beautiful colours of this portal. And that looks like bamboo around it. And you know, bamboo has to be very, very flexible. There's always whispers. If you've ever been in a bamboo forest, you'll have heard the whispers of the wind. And the wind representing spirit, representing your intuition, your soul voice, the voice of your ancestors. The tiger representing that energy of courage and strength, and not so much ferocity, but just certainty. I mean, this tiger just stands well on its own. It just stands there and goes, I know who I am. But this flexibility now with health, flexibility with the healing energy that is around us at the moment. But I'm also a bit excited because I think many of you may experience your guides in a very exciting way this week, that you may have that sense of them physically being with you. And I mean, personally, I feel that all the time when my guide's here. It's like, okay, I know you're here. But I'm just seeing for many of you, you're going to have that expression of them and the experience of them more and more as they make their presence more and more known. Because what they're saying is, now we need to give you the tools, right? You know, we've given you the opportunities, but now we need to give you the tools. And you've got to ask what those tools are. You've got to say, what do I need to do next? How can I move through this? Or how can I do more of this? Or how can I experience myself differently? Because they're ready to give you tools. And that's a really beautiful card, which I'm hoping you're going to be able to see, because it's quite, but it's potential. And if you look there, there's this woman and a child inside her. And it's like the child now is ready to come out. And also seeing in that, and it doesn't show so much on the card itself, but my third eye sees on that card almost like the ancient healers, the shamanic healers who would have taken on the guise of an animal. They would, you know, have worn, let's say, an animal skin to actually blend with the spirit of that animal. And what I see there is us doing that. That's that potential, bringing out that potential. But by blending, by asking for, by connecting with the powerful beings in spirit that are there to help you, but more specifically the animal kingdom. So we've got the tiger there online. I was seeing energy of cat in this as well. And cats, super intuitive, right? Cats are, you know, 9 lives. They use their intuition. They quietly go about what they need to do. They can kind of almost shrink their body so they can get through, you know, the bars. And I'm just seeing in my mind like the bars in a gate. You know, if you had one of those gates kind of things that you don't want children to get through. And cats just going, well, I can get through that. You know, I can squeeze my body in and I can get through. So that's like you getting through a portal this week, you getting through a tight spot, you getting through somewhere where you just feel like you've got a deeper connection with yourself, but to call on these energies, to call on your specific spirit animal this week. And it feels like it will be the cat energy. And it's funny because we just came out of the Leo full moon, and of course we've got tiger here and I'm seeing cat, but that cat feline energy, that energy of, 9 lives, lots of lives, by the way. And also, what else do I see in that? Interesting, in any of these cards, there were no numbers this week, and last week was all about numbers. So with no numbers, we have freedom. We have that ability to not be restricted or constrained by anything. So no numbers, there's no, you know, if you missed out on something in your life, and this is this 12-year thing that I'm coming back to. So if you missed out on something 12 years ago and you kind of go, well, all this time is gone. You know, once healing happens, once recognition happens, and there's the opportunity for that this week, once that happens, time's got no meaning. You know, it's kind of like, well, okay, you might have missed 12 years of this, but you now have the opportunity right now to experience this in a much deeper way. So things that I'm seeing that you're going to experience in a much deeper way is the absolute vision of who you are. and what you bring to this planet, what you bring to this world, what you bring to your family, what you bring to your friends, so that there will be a much deeper connection with that this week, which is really, really beautiful, isn't it? I kind of get very excited when I kind of look at this and see that we are being really, really supported at the moment to see ourselves differently and to experience ourselves differently. So in that no numbers energy as well, it's a little bit like if I was to say to you, and those of you that know a bit about numerology, you could play with this. If I was to say to you, if there was a number that you wanted to work with this week, what would it be? And just let something pop into your head. Now, I can quickly run through it, right, for those of you that don't know. So 0 would be a place of every possibility. 1 would be a place of new beginnings. 2 would be unity. It would be, finding partnership, finding balance, finding harmony. 3 would be the energy of creation. 3 is also very much an energy of communication, but also healing. Think the Holy Trinity, Mother, Father, Child. So we're healing through wholeness. 4, very much about processes, about purpose and direction and foundations. 5, all about this energy of fun, spontaneity and freedom and independence, this ability to really be a free thinker and a free spirit. 6, all about rebirthing, new energy, family, connection, friendships, this whole thing of feeling like you are that royal sovereign being that you are. The 7, walking the mystic path, teaching, really trusting in your message, really trusting in your charisma and your ideas and your ability to make a change in the world. The 8, all about, hard work, not so much hard work, but the blending of the right use of your power. So work and purpose, but bringing those together in a very soft and gentle way. And the 9, all about this energy of wisdom and integrity and knowing that, it's through your experiences that you have become who you are. So I'd invite you just with those things that as you think about the week, think about a number, maybe Google it as well and say, okay, my number for the week is this. And if you get double numbers, then maybe the energy at the moment, and you're probably seeing that. I know I am at the moment. I know lots of my people are. Why am I seeing 1111? Why am I seeing 3333? So looking at that and saying, well, what do those numbers represent for you? And you're certainly being awakened. You're certainly being shaken up. So as I always say, thank you for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed, even though you might watch on a regular basis, the subscription really helps build the numbers, which helps me, and it helps me do more and more and more for you. And I'm really loving the energy, loving the comments. So I'd love you to keep the comments coming, and let's keep building this community of love and light. Have the most beautiful week, and I'll see you next week for the weekly reading. And throughout the week, I will be bringing you another channeled message from Mary, as well as a couple of other surprise things to be looking for. So I will see you soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.